All right, I had a question by some beginning carvers concerning what do you do when you have the fuzzies? A lot of carvers call them the fuzzies. In other words, as you cut a piece of wood, maybe it doesn't cut just right or whatever, and you're left with these fuzzies along. If you see that along your little bits of wood, perhaps that you didn't get just right or whatever, and everybody has that with their carvings. They have what's called fuzzies, and a lot of people have different ways of getting them off. Now, there is a there is a little sanding. I don't know what they're called. Sanding discs that they're like little feelers, in other words, and they're good for that. But one of the ways that I do it, I'm going to show you two ways that I can do it. For instance, in these areas here that I made them specifically to show you. One of the ways is to wet your carving, and I'm going to do that on one side. I've done it on two sides here, and I'm going to show you two different things to do. Is to wet your carving in that area, or wet the whole carving. Okay? Now, when the wood becomes wet, usually when you cut it, it doesn't, you don't get the fuzzies with it, in other words, see? So you take this and you cut here and you cut through here, and it sort of gets rid of the fuzzies by takes them off if you wet the carving real good, in other words, because and then you go back and you take your knife, sharpen your knife a little bit, and just slowly take those fuzzies out of there, in other words, with the thumb. Now, another good way to do this, and it is a very easy way, is to get you a moto tool, or a mine is a what they call Dremels or Fordhams or whatever, and those a rotary tool. And I have one right here, right here. And this is a Craftsman. This is an older one that I have. And you can get all kind of bits for these things. But one of the bits that you can get is a wire wheel for it. Okay? And this is one of them. And now I've kind of grinded this down quite a bit. It usually comes out. But it's a little wire wheel, just like that. And you take this. Now you also have sanding disc parts and stuff like that, but I like this little wire wheel. Put it on here. And you take it, and it's great for fuzzies. You take it and get it to the speed that you want it, and just hit that area there, and the wire gets inside, and gets inside there and gets those little fuzzies out of there, in other words. Okay? It's not really sanding, it's more like just, you know. Now they also make and I cannot remember, 3M makes them. See how you get that out of there? So, but you don't want to turn it on too fast, you know, because it will burn too. And so now look at that. See, you got those little fuzzies out of there, in other words. And this is just a moto tool. You can buy them at this is actually a Craftsman, but I think Dremel makes it. And you can get all kinds of bits for them, but I really like the wire brush. I started using it, and it's just, you know, to get into hard places. And what I like about it is the fact that the brush forms to the shape that you are sanding. or whatever. They also have these little sanders like this, in other words, that you can use. Now these are a little bit more aggressive. You want to be careful, and these don't always form. They're like little flaps, and they do work good. This is 80 grit. The little bits do. And then 3M makes man, I cannot remember the name of those things, but they're like a wire wheel, but there's a little sanding disc, very small, and they're a little pricey. They are, but you put them on one of these things, and then you 3M makes them, and I can't remember what they're called, but I like to use the wire wheel, and that doesn't mean everybody has to use the wire wheel. And then when I get ready to do my piece, or if I want to just sand it just a little bit, I'll just take a piece of sandpaper myself and just go over it a little bit. Now, you know that I leave my carvings rough, pretty rough, in other words, for the flat plane sense, but I like to run the sandpaper over them a little bit, not real hard, and to where I lose my flat plane look. But those are the ways that you can excuse me, those are the ways that you can get the burrs, or the little we call burrs, wood burrs, and little fuzzies off of your carving, in other words. And they work very well, very fast. Now on the wire wheel, let me say, do not, it's best if you get a rotary tool that is variable speed, so you can kind of control the speed. You don't want it too fast, because then it take a little bit off in that sense, so I can control the speed on it. So anyway, that's just to some carvers out there that have written, that is one of the ways to get the fuzzies off of your carving. Okay? All right. Well, God bless now, and be safe.